You ever bought a cheap mini collector because you thought you could save a few dollars, only to end up with a dusty shop floor, a clogged filter and a whole lot of frustration? I've been there. The disappointment of a low-power unit that can't keep up with even a modest CNC router or a wood-turning lathe is something most woodshop owners learn the hard way. That's why today I'm taking a close look at Oneida Air Systems Supercell high-pressure portable freestanding HEPA-GFM dust collector. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I want to see if the premium price translates into a smarter buy or just another pricey gimmick. First off, the biggest hesitation anyone has before dropping $1,300 plus on a dust collector is, do I really need that much suction? In a small to medium workshop, it's tempting to think a 5-horsepower fan is overkill. But the reality is that many hobbyists start with a 2-horsepower blower and quickly discover that fine sanding dust, polymer particles from 3D printers, and the fine shavings from a router table all conspire to saturate a standard filter within minutes. The Supercell claims 10 higher suction than a typical collector, which, on paper, sounds like a lot of horsepower that you'll never actually use. In practice, that power means the unit can maintain strong airflow even as the dust bin fills up, so you don't have to stop every 30 minutes to empty the container. For anyone who runs a CNC router or does continuous sanding, that actually cuts down time dramatically. So who should consider this machine? If your shop runs at least one high-volume cutter, a CNC, a laser cutter, a large table saw with a dust port, or a production line of any kind, then the Supercell's ability to pull a steady stream of particles through its HEPA-GFM filter is a serious advantage. The filter itself is a standout. It combines a non-stick PTFE membrane with grade filter media, so you get consistent filtration without the filter constantly choking on sticky resin or oil residue. That's a big deal for people who do a mix of wood, metal, and composite work, because you won't see a sudden drop in airflow when you switch from sanding wood to polishing a metal part. On the flip side, if your workflow is limited to occasional use of a single router or a benchtop planer, the Supercell might be more than you need. Its 14-gallon dustbin is generous, but a hobbyist who only runs a tool a couple of times a week will likely never fill it past half its capacity. In that scenario, the cost of a lower horsepower unit with a smaller bin could be justified, saving you a few $100s without sacrificing the occasional cleanup. Let's talk about daily usability. The unit rests on a compact steel rolling stand that can be wheeled around a cramped shop floor. I've seen reviewers mention that the stand's wheels lock securely, which prevents the whole thing from rolling when you bump into it, an issue that can be a safety hazard in a tight workspace. The remote control feature is genuinely handy. You can turn the collector on or off from across the shop while you're still focused on a cut. No need to reach over the bin, which can be a pain when you're already in a tight spot. The pulse cleaner button on the front of the unit also does what it promises: give the filter a brief burst of air to shake loose any buildup that might be clinging to the surface. In a real-world setting, that means you can keep the system running for longer stretches without having to do a full filter cleanout every hour. Now for the practical weaknesses. The biggest trade-off is size and weight. Even though the Supercell is labeled portable, it's not something you'll want to lift onto a roof or carry around a job site without a dolly. The steel frame and the 5-horsepower blower motor add up to a hefty mass, so once you set it up, you're really committing to a fixed location. If you often rearrange your shop layout or need to move the dust collector between different bays, you'll find the mobility limited. Additionally, the unit's noise level is notable. A 5-horsepower fan can generate a roar that pushes 80 plus decibels, which is comparable to a busy highway. If you have an open-plan shop or live in a residential area with strict noise ordinances, you'll want to factor in ear protection or a sound-dampening enclosure. The high-pressure blower also draws a significant amount of electrical current, so you'll need a dedicated 20-amp circuit, otherwise you risk tripping breakers during peak usage. Another nuance is the filter replacement cost. While the HEPA-GFM filter is reusable and can be pulsed clean, it will eventually need to be swapped out. The replacement filters aren't cheap, and you'll have to factor that into ongoing operating expenses. However, Compared with a typical cartridge filter that needs replacement every few weeks, the Supercell's filter life can stretch to several months if you maintain it properly with the pulse cleaner and keep the dust bin from getting